folks, this is Chris with Big Guys Hike 2, and today we're going to go over some mods that I'm going to do to my tents. I have the Light Fighter one-person tent, and on that tent, it came with guidelines, had a different kind of hardware at the end that I really didn't understand. Kind of looks like that's where you hook it up to the straps on the tent, but at the other end, it's just a bare cordage. So I went ahead and purchased some toggles, that tensioning toggles, to be able to tension the tent. So I went ahead and I'll show you where I added those. And then also on my Durston X Mid Pro two-person tent, it had 2 places on the bottom. There's 8 places to peg out the bottom of the tent, and 2 of those places had the tab but had no cordage on it. I originally used some cordage that was came with the tent and cut a little piece off that and used that, but it didn't stretch, and it was kind of taut on the material when I stacked it out. So I went ahead and bought some bungee cord, and I replaced that with that, and you'll see that here in the video. And then also the guidelines, there's 4 of them on the tent. I did get the cordage to come with it, so I went ahead and it was 1 piece of cordage. I cut it into 4 equal parts, and I went ahead and put the tensioners on the ends of them, and then at the other end I tied them to the loops on the tent with a bowline knot, and I'm going to leave those on the tent so that in case I have to put it up for a storm, they're already there. They don't weigh that much. I tied them up so that they kind of hang from the tent and will be out of the way. So the other thing I did to that tent was on the inside, they have a magnetic strip that keeps the outside of the outside door. When you roll it up, it keeps it up. But on the inside, when you roll up the mesh door, it just has 2 lines that come out that you have to tie in a bow or a knot or something like that. So I went ahead and I sewed the one into a loop, which I'll show you, and then I'm waiting. I haven't received in the mail the toggle, but I'm going to go ahead and put a toggle on the other piece so that you can use it like you do a regular tent and toggle it. I have no clue, for the amount of money that tent cost, why they didn't use a better mechanism than just 2 pieces of cordage to tie it up. That seems kind of cheap on their part. So it's kind of disappointing. I love the tent so far. The ease of the pitch is really good, but it really does seem odd that they went really cheap on the stakes. It takes 8 around it and then a 4 guide out, so that's 12 total stakes, and they only give you 6, and they're pretty flimsy stakes, and you have to actually have that as an addition when you buy it. So I know their excuse is that they everybody wants different stakes, so you could modify your stakes. But then again, well, then why am I paying, close to $700 for a tent? You'd think that. And then, like I said, the toggle, what's that cost? A few pennies for them. So I don't know why they didn't add that on the inside. And also the same way with the 2 spots on the tent to stake it out. The loops are there, but why wouldn't you just go ahead and put the cordage on there? I mean, that couldn't cost much either. So I don't know if it's a weight savings or if it's a money savings on their part, but I think when you're paying that kind of money for a tent, then you should get all the options that are needed. All right, the Light Fighter one-person tent came with 4 guidelines, but they have I'll show it to you real quick, real close. They have this right here, and it had a loop tied to it. I'm not really sure how that fastened. I can use that little clip to fasten to the little loop that's on the tent, but the other end comes with just the rope with nothing on the end of the rope. You probably can't see that from there, but it has the end of the rope. So I went ahead and purchased from Amazon some the tension fasteners that go on tents. So I went ahead and put one on here, right there. So again, let's show you that right there. And what that does is, as you can see there, it bends and tightens, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on these the rest of the lines. Okay, we'll show you real close up. You take the line, if you look at this, has a longer end, has a part with teeth in it right here, and it has another hole right there, so you have the two holes. So you want to slide through the side that doesn't have the teeth through the longer end, which is slightly longer, and of course these are burnt ends, so they are going to be a little harder to get through there, but they'll get through. And then loop it around and put it through the other hole so that you have a loop right there, as you can see. And then you go ahead and just tie a regular knot at the end of the rope, tie it tight, and then pull it down through, and then you have your slip, and whenever you tighten it, it will tighten and it will not loosen up. So that's how to do it. I have 4 of them, so I'll do that. So this end clips on to there's a loop on the tent, so this just goes in here and kind of slips in there like that on the tent. It's a little bit thinner material on the tent. That'll slip on there like that. Then you pull it down to the guide-on. Then you hook this end up to the stake. So that's how that's. So for the Durston X Mid Pro, they have 2 things that you tie for the inner. I don't understand why they did that. They have a nice magnetic clasp for the outside of the tent when you roll up the door, but for the inside mesh door, they have 2 toggles like this to tie. So what I did was I went ahead and modified it by taking some sewing material, and I made a loop and then sewed through the material onto itself and then kind of secured it. So now I have a toggle. What I'm going to do is buy, for this part here, I'm going to buy a tent toggle to put through that and tie a knot on that, so then when I do it, I can just have it reach over and toggle through here like that. So I'll show you that when I get done with that, but that's the one modification I'm doing on the inside of the tent. Next modification that I'm going to do is they have these little tabs here, and they provided some guideline material, but it doesn't stretch. And when you're putting the stakes down on the edge of the bottom of the tent, you kind of want to be able to, so I'm going to put these bungee cords that put a little more tension on there and gives a little, so it's not quite as bad. So I'm going to do that as the next modification. So that just kind of goes through here, and you just tie a double knot on there. So as you can see, so I'm going to go around and put that on. You can see there. I'm going to put that on around the tent on the edge, on the bottom, all the way around. On the extra ones, the corner ones already have ties, but these ones don't. So I'm going to put those on there. All right, the Durston X Mid Pro came with some guideline cordage, so I went ahead and cut it into 4 equal pieces because there's 4 tie-out points on the tent, but that didn't come with any hardware, so I went ahead and purchased the hardware so that you can adjust it and add tension onto the stake. So I'll go ahead and show you on one how to do that. So once again, the thing has 2 holes that you can see right there. And then on this side here, I'm not sure if you can pick up on that or not, but it has some teeth right there. And so you're going to go through the side that doesn't have the teeth. You go through the longer side, back down through the lighter side, and then you tie a knot on the end. And I may have to tie 2 knots because the So I'm going to tie one knot, see if that's enough to keep it from going through. Oh, and it is. So as you can see, when you pull on it, it latches down so it doesn't pull. Loosen it up like this and you can tighten it. So that's how that's going to work. Then I'll go ahead and do the other three. All right, so to add the guidelines, you're going to have to go through the little tabs that are on there. And I'm going to do a bowline knot, which you go ahead and put that over, go down through, under, and over. And I'm going to redo that because the loop's too big. So I don't want to waste that much cordage. So go through, under, and over. Hold the two ends here and pull the bow knot tight. And that's the bowman knot right there, or bowline knot. So you already saw the modifications that I did. I'll probably make further comments on them once I go out in the field and field test my tents, and I'll talk about the upgrades also at that time. I did notice that the line was a little thinner on the Durston tent, the cordage, and the tensioners sometimes grabbed, sometimes didn't. So I'm going to look to maybe try to find a smaller tensioner that will grab a smaller cordage, and that might do a little bit better. So if that doesn't work, there is a knot that's a slip knot. I think it's a Norwegian slip knot, but it works really well. So if it fails on while I'm out there, I can always use that knot. So, and then also still waiting for that one toggle to come in so I can put that in that tent. I'll probably also use those toggles to try to replace the ones in my teepee tent, because the toggles in the teepee tent are real small, but the loops are really big. So I don't know why they made the loop so big and the toggle so small. Either way, they could have either made the loop smaller or the toggles bigger on that tent. So the one Tigers, they come loose really easy, especially if the wind's blowing, so the door flaps down. So anyway, thank you for watching, and if you like what you see, please subscribe, hit the like button, and also please leave comments. If anybody knows how to use those hardware on the light fighter tent, I'd love to see that. And so if you know anything about that, please let me know. And other than that, remember, plan your hike and hike your plan.